Chapter 142. Solo battle against a group of heroes. Instead, Zhao Wuji's gaze was directed towards the sky, because after the 9th wave of heavenly lightning dissipated, the sky's plunder cloud not only didn't disperse, but instead, it strengthened a lot. Sure enough, Zhao Wuji murmured, his eyes transmitting a brilliant light. The imp Zhaolinga on the side looked at her big brother in surprise, then followed Zhao Wuji's gaze to the sky's calamity cloud, and her eyes instantly froze. Boom! With a sudden explosion, a black figure rushed out from the ground and landed in front of the crowd. It was none other than Kang Tian. The crowd was instantly excited and thrilled. That kind of terrifying thunderbolt was actually survived by Kang Tian. This kind of talent was too terrifying. Kang Tian at this moment, however, ignored the cheers of the crowd around him. His eyes were firmly fixed on the sky's tribulation clouds, his face incomparably gloomy. Kid, this is the other heavenly tribulation. Your heavenly tribulation is only really starting now. Those 81 just now were just appetizers, Emperor Dan said with a laugh. Only there was a trace of gravity in that laugh. The surrounding crowd also noticed Kang Tian's strange appearance. They followed Kang Tian's gaze to the firmament, and were instantly stunned by the increasingly huge heavenly tribulation cloud. What was going on here? It was clear that he had already passed through 9,981 thunder tribulations. How come the heavenly tribulation hadn't ended yet? Everyone's hearts were filled with questions. Boom! A huge beam of lightning suddenly erupted from the midst of the tribulation cloud and blasted toward the ground. But surprisingly, this heavenly thunderbolt didn't hit the Kang heaven, but instead landed right in front of it. The crowd could not help but be stunned at this scene. Kang Tian was also puzzled, and then his gaze tightly fixed on the beam of lightning in front of him, his complexion growing more and more grave. Right at this moment, a figure appeared amidst the thunder light. Unlike a thunder god, he walked out of the endless thunder light and appeared in front of the crowd. His entire body flickered with blazing lightning, truly seeming like the thunder god incarnate. His icy cold eyes shot towards Kang Tian. Without any unnecessary nonsense, he directly made his move. A fist filled with endless lightning ruthlessly killing towards Kang Tian. This is impossible. Thundercloud bristled and stood up, looking at the figure that stepped out from within the beams of lightning with a face full of incredulity. Everyone present was equally shocked as they watched this scene. This person who had suddenly appeared from amongst the thunderbolts actually looked just like Thundercloud. No, the divine ability spell that this person was casting to attack Kang Tian at this moment was the same divine ability spell that Lei Yun knew. Jin San Xiao, Wang Taizhong, and the others were stunned. They looked at the Lei Yun beside them, and then looked at that Lei Yun who was attacking Kang Tian on the life and death stage, and felt a wave of dizziness. What's going on here? How did two thunderclouds appear? Including Thundercloud's father, King Zhenan, was stunned for a moment. Then a look of gravity appeared in his eyes as he said in a deep voice, "There is a kind of terrifying heavenly tribulation that can replicate the person in the memories of the person who is crossing the tribulation. This kind of replication is not only the appearance, even the divine abilities and spells can be copied down, except that the cultivation of the person who is being replicated is the same as the one who is crossing the tribulation." The crowd was shocked when they heard this. There was actually this kind of terrifying heavenly tribulation. Stepping out from amongst the beams of thunder and lightning, Thundercloud's entire body was shrouded in blazing electric light. His entire body seemed to be made of thunder and lightning. He descended like a god of thunder, his ice cold eyes transmitting to brilliant cold bolts of electricity. Although Kang Tian was astonished in his heart, he was incomparably calm as he blasted his fist towards the thundercloud. Unrivaled power erupted in the air with a shocking resounding sound, and vast energies rushed away. The two youthful powerhouses instantly entwined together, and a fierce battle erupted. The tattered life and death stage once again suffered a terrifying blow, and was reduced to smithereens under the aftermath of the fierce collision between the two of them. At the same level, you are not my opponent, Kang Chon suddenly shouted. His fist erupted with blazing light as he blasted out, shattering the heavens and earth as thundercloud's entire body flew out backwards. This Lei Yun, who came out from amongst the thunder and lightning, had the same cultivation level as Kang Chon. Both were at the 4th level of the Jidan stage. At this same level, he was not Kang Chon's opponent at all. Kang Chon easily defeated this thundercloud, who came out from amongst the thunderbolts with just his physical strength. This guy, true thundercloud on the distant viewing platform, couldn't help but stifle a grunt when he saw this scene. But he had to admit that he really wasn't Kang Chon's opponent at the same level. Everyone else was still immersed in amazement. After all, this heavenly tribulation was too strange to have replicated a thundercloud to fight Kang Chon. On the crumbling life and death stage, Kang Chon stood proudly, his icy gaze looking towards the heavenly tribulation cloud in the sky. That thundercloud that had come out of the lightning did not retreat. He retreated to the side, seemingly waiting for something. Soon, another terrifying thundercloud descended. Kang Chon's eyes suddenly narrowed. His gaze looked straight ahead. And in the midst of the thundercloud, a familiar figure stepped out, and it was actually Bastard Warrior Wu Gang. Just with you, not even close. Kang Chon looked at this suddenly appearing Wu Gang. His eyes did not have the slightest surprise. At the same level, even if Wu Gang and Thundercloud teamed up, they were not his opponent. This terrifying special bloodline of Kang Chon's hegemony blood naturally had its own strong points. At this moment, the hegemonic warrior Wu Gang in the crowd was looking at this scene in amazement. He hadn't thought that he would appear amongst Kang Chon's heavenly tribulation. Boom! Right at this moment, another terrifying beam of thunder and lightning descended, from which two powerful figures emerged, the sword and sword dual Jedi. People once again cried out in astonishment, for great Tang 7 warriors had appeared all of a sudden. This heavenly tribulation was too peculiar. Without waiting for their cries to stop, a 4th beam of lightning descended, and in the midst of a blazing light of lightning, the mad warrior Shen Tiji stepped out indifferently, his icy eyes staring at the heavens. Boom! The great battle instantly erupted. Lei Yun, Wu Gang, Shen Tiji, and the sword and sword dual Jedi all struck out at the same time to kill Kang Chon. The terrifying energy caused this heaven and earth to tremble, and a terrifying tornado storm raged in the place where they were fighting. Kang Chon's battle intent surged to the sky. He blasted his fist towards the thunderclouds. His thick true essence surged out. The terrifying energy resembled a shocking wave that swept through the entire heaven and earth. Boom! Lei Yun was Kang Chon's fist shocked flying, but immediately a bright sword light asterisk 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 came. The matchless sword, she might swing 8 directions, shaking the sky and taking in the ground. Kang Chon's complexion was condensed. It was Shen Tiji. Only he had this kind of terrifying sword chi. He immediately activated his Overlord Fist and met Shen Tiji. The terrifying fist power shook the heaven and earth and moved the 4 directions. Wu Gang also killed over, but none of his strength was as good as Lei Yun, and he was instantly blasted by Kang Chon's fist, turning into a beam of light that disappeared into the heavens and earth. Wu Gang, who was among the crowd in the distance, saw this scene. His face was incomparably ugly. He did not expect that he, who was at the same level, could not even resist Kang Chon's punch. This was too embarrassing. Boom, boom. Soon after, the 2 brothers, the blade and sword dual Jedi, were also blasted by Kang Chon and disappeared into beams of light. This time, it was the blade and sword double Jedi brothers who turned blue in the face, and the 2 of them hid amongst the crowd, wishing to cover their faces for fear of being recognized by others. The terrifying battle continued. Kang Chon was alone with Lei Yun and Shen Tiji. Both of them were incomparably strong. Even if they were at the same level, Kang Chon wanted to defeat them, and it would take a little bit of time. Boom! Soon, a beam of lightning once again descended in the sky. This beam was incomparably huge and filled with terrifying energy. People were shocked. Could there still be an appearance? Just as people were shocked, a foot stepped on a black sarcophagus and came. Killing the heavens, a terrifying corpse aura swept through the heavens and earth, shaking the earth in all directions. "It's the Earth Corpse King," people exclaimed in shock. This person who suddenly appeared was Corpse Earth. Back then, Kang Tian and Zhao Linga had only teamed up to defeat this person. Now this person appeared in the middle of the heavenly tribulation, and Kang Tian was at the same level of a battle. "Just in time, you're equally no match for me at the same level." Kang Tian was not shocked, but delighted. A strong battle intent came out through his body as he fought Lei Yun and Shen Taji alone while killing the corpse land. Boom! Corpse ground coldly and mercilessly killed Kang Tian. He was the same as Lei Yun and Shen Taji, without the slightest emotion. They were replicated by the heavenly tribulation and only had the same fighting strength without the slightest fluctuation of emotions. The three top young powerhouses joined forces at the same level to battle Kang Tian. The terrifying energy shook the heavens and earth. Everyone looked at this scene with shock on their faces. Each and every one of them couldn't take their eyes off the scene for fear of missing a single moment of excitement. Although these three people were fictionalized by the heavenly tribulation, their fighting power was the same as their real bodies, no less than a real battle, and the crowd watched with great pleasure. Overlord Fist. Kang Tian yelled up to the sky, a pair of hegemony fists wreaking havoc in the 8 wastelands, the only thing that matters. Corpse Ground, Thundercloud, and Shen Taji all joined forces and were all pressed into the wind by him. The aura of the hegemony king was undoubtedly evident. The crowd was shocked too. Watch, who at the same level could fight with the hegemony king? Is it only the god of war Zhao Wuji? Thundercloud on the viewing platform was ashamed, muttering in dissatisfaction, "This kid doesn't give me a face either. He even beat me up. Humph." Jin San Shao on the side smiled and said, "Don't be dissatisfied. Being able to be copied out by the heavenly tribulation shows that your strength is able to pose a threat to the heavens. Look at me, who didn't even show up. Maybe you'll appear later." Lei Yun sniffed and guessed. Jin San Shao laughed. Then his smile froze as he violently saw a beam of light descending in the sky once again, and bitterly laughed. "It's really true that you guessed right." The terrifying lightning beam descended once again, and Jin San Shao, who was filled with indifference, stepped out of it and killed the heavens. People were instantly shocked. Even Jin San Shao, one of the 4 masters of the imperial capital, had appeared. Wait, was it even the god of war, Zhao Wuji, who had also appeared? Some people began to look at Zhao Wuji on the viewing platform and realized that Zhao Wuji was staring tightly at the great battle on the life and death stage without the slightest fluctuation in his gaze. On the life and death stage, with the addition of Jin San Shao, the pressure Kang Tian was under enhanced a bit. However, he was still strong and unrivaled, fighting for youthful powerhouses all by himself. Unsurprisingly, he still had the upper hand, which had to shock people. Jin San Shao and Lei Yun on the viewing platform couldn't help but curse Kang Tian for being perverted. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, 3 terrifying beams of light descended from the skies, robbing clouds all at once, which were much stronger than the previous beams and contained incomparably terrifying energy. The crowd immediately stared at these 3 beams of light with unblinking eyes, and they had already vaguely guessed in their hearts who the people among them were. "It can't be the 3 of them," Jin San Shao murmured. Lei Yun, Liu Suifeng, and the others also guessed who it was. "I'm afraid that these 3 silhouettes were Zhao Wuji, Sun Ji, and Li Yuanba." As expected, when the 3 beams of light disappeared, Zhao Wuji, Sun Ji, and Li Yuanba appeared on the life and death stage. The 3 of them looked equally cold, and as soon as they appeared, they teamed up to kill Kangchon. Boom, boom, boom. 3 unrivaled energy blasts came. Kangchon's entire body was instantly blown away. This was the first time he had been blown away head-on, thus showing the strength of Zhao Wuji, Sun Ji and Li Yuanba. Haha, let's see how arrogant you kid still dares to be, Lei Yun said laughingly. Jin San Xiao and the others also couldn't help but smile. Speaking of which, when they saw themselves being abused by Kangchon, their hearts were a little bit upset. At this moment, when they saw Kangchon being blown away, their moods were instantly much more comfortable. Boom, Kangchon, who had been blown away, rose up into the sky, his eyes staring icily at the group of youthful powerhouses that had surrounded him, his face very grave. At this moment, the youth powerhouses he was facing were Zhao Wuji, Sun Ji, Li Yuanba, Jin San Xiao, Lei Yun, Shen Taji. Corpse ground 7 people. Each of these 7 people was a peak youth figure in the Great Tang cultivation sector. Under the joint efforts of the 7, Kangchon immediately fell into a disadvantage from the upper hand, and the powerful pressure almost overwhelmed him.